Good morning, guys. We're back in the emergency storage shed today to get something else out of it, as is our weekly obligation. I think this is episode 146. And if you don't know the story, have a look at one of the other videos. I'm not going to go through it every time. Let's go and find some treasure. Okay, it's so much better with those cupboards gone out of here. Incidentally, we sold both cupboards. Both found new homes for $10 each. I was happy to move them on. And the people that purchased them were happy to have projects, and good on them because I've got enough. Okay, we've been working in the pile of boxes on this side to get those cupboards out. We've got a couple of residual boxes there, which I'd like to perhaps get processed. And then that timber frame, which is actually an old, I think it was a notice board from a bank. I may have an idea for what I can use that for. Then we're going to switch onto this cabinet in the middle, start from the top obviously, and work our way down through some pretty interesting stuff. And that will free up that cabinet, or at least those shelves, and I'll probably move them across against this wall and continue our tunnelling towards the back of the shed. I reckon we have at least another 12 months of weekly episodes to go. Remember, we still have a lot of stuff on this side that I've been totally ignoring. Okay, little box at the top, big box underneath. I'm guessing they may be books, but who knows, because we've been getting some really interesting old paperwork and stuff from these boxes. I would assume these are from the same place as all the others we've done in the previous weeks. Let's get them into the bench and have a look. Okay, this one's heavy enough to be books, but the one underneath it, as I took this one off, moved around quite a bit. So I don't think it's as heavy as what I was expecting. Don't know what's in it. Let's get through this one first, hopefully quick enough, and we can go and get that other big box. Okay, do we have books? I have resisted the urge to look, and I can see a street directory on top, a Vic Roads Country Street Directory of Victoria, edition 6. So I don't expect that's going to be worth a lot. Sometimes the early editions of these directories can be quite sought after, and of course the latest editions are valuable because people use them. I'm not sure when edition 6 would have come out. Perhaps 1990s, early 2000s. Does it give a date? 2004. Okay. So probably not going to be worth very much. And we have some, yeah, this did come from the same house as all our old paperwork and that we've been going through. The guy was an avid collector of books and he had a lot of interests, one of which was obviously birds, Australian seabirds, bird wonders of Australia. These look sort of 1950s or 60s era books. He's put plastic covers over them. He did look after his stuff very well. 1959 he's got handwritten here, so that's when he purchased it. 56, 4th edition. Let's go 1962 as a guess for this one. He's got 1973, okay, but when was it published? 1971. All right, so I was a little bit early on that one. Here we have the Wandering Albatross. Late 60s perhaps. 1959, 1958 published. Alright, so I'm about 10 years out on my guesses. And this one then, what bird is that? Some of these might be quite sought after. Again, covered in plastic. 1959 he has written. 58 publication. It was first published in 31. Alright. More bird books. A field guide to nests and eggs. I won't keep looking at the dates. Field guide to Australian birds. And a field guide to birds of Australia. How many times can you rewrite the same title in different ways? We have a little collection of books here. Birds of Victoria. Birds of Victoria, urban areas, dry countries, rare species, farmlands. This is a good set. The ranges, inland waters, and ocean bays and beaches. I wonder if that's a full set. 2, 4, I don't think we have volume 1. We do. All right, I'll check that out. Hopefully they've got some value, these ones. What's this? A Australian wildlife. This looks more like a picture book. It's a bit squashed because of the way it was packed. So that one looks like it's probably in the 60s again. No date that I can see there. More bird books, bird life, and learning about Australian birds. Now there's one book in here that's not about birds. The Handbook for Radio Amateurs. And he was a amateur radio enthusiast as well. Let's get that out of the bag. 1995, this one. It must have been one of the last books he purchased, because there's not many books into the 2000s from his collection. And he's really squashed that into the bag. But it has kept the book in excellent condition. It was $30 back at the time. So I'll have to check that out. I'll do a bit of checking online to see what's going to be worth much here. I know sometimes some of these bird identification books can be quite sought after. Nothing else in the box. I'll get some prices on these. We've certainly got time to go through the bigger box. I wonder what's in it. Before we investigate that other large box, let's recap what we've got here so that I can pack them up and get them off the bench. I've done some checking online. All of the books are available. I could find examples of all of them, most of them multiple examples. So they're not rare, but they are quite sought after, particularly all the Australian bird books. There seems to be plenty of people interested. I have got some prices I've estimated that I should be able to get for them in the shop, and surprisingly it adds up to over $200. There's good value in books generally, and I think these will sell quite well, but if they don't, I reckon I could get around about that figure on eBay, even accounting for fees. However, it does take a bit of work. So I've priced these around about what they sell for on eBay, even a little bit cheaper. For example, the better one here, the Field Guide to Nests and Eggs, I found a few examples that sold for around $50. I think the cheapest was about $25 plus postage, so $30 is a very realistic price. I just have to wait for the right person to come in the shop, of course. So that's what I think they're worth. Realistically, I think that's a fair price. I did see some examples of some of them sell for a lot more than that, but they're just isolated examples. I think, which one was it? There was one here. I forget which one it was now. I think I priced it at 10. Might have been learning about birds or bird life, one of those. I found an example that sold for quite a lot. In fact, the Vic Rhodes book was another one. I found one of those that sold for $45 plus postage, and yet there was others on there that didn't get a bid at like $10. So I think that just shows that you can't take a sale on eBay as gospel. There is always an unusual event, a sucker born every day, as they say. Perhaps someone wanted one that day and it was available and it's the first listing they found and they just clicked buy it now. It's not always an accurate representation of what they're worth, because there was quite a few on there that did not even sell for much, much lower. Anyway, I think that's pretty realistic for what I saw online. Good value from one small box of books. They're all in great condition. Didn't have to spend any time cleaning them up. I'll pack them up and take them to the shop. But essentially, just over $200. Let's go and get that big box now and see what's in that. So this box is super light, and I have no idea why it was on the bottom of the pile. Obviously, who was helping at the time didn't perhaps realise the weight that was going to be on it. It is a bit squashed, but I'm thinking it's probably tins, empty tins, but very light, and whatever is in it hopefully isn't damaged. Let's open it up and see. I'll leave the camera where it is for now, because otherwise you won't be able to see in here very well. Alright, what do we got? Oh, okay, it's not all tins. There's some vases, so not ideal to have pottery on the bottom of the pile. It looks like it's, oh, that's actually a plastic one. It's quite vintage. It's got your scrunched up chicken wire in there, which we found with some vases a few episodes back. These are all plastic ones, so any wonder it's so light. They have little blocks with that foam stuff for holding flowers, which breaks down and turns to dust, so that'll probably have to go in the bin. I don't know that these little plastic comport things are going to have much value. Oh, so yeah, there's not much value in this box at all. It's a shame it was taking up space in the shed. Oh, we have little ceramic ones in here. Little urn type vases. I think they've got Japan stamped on the bottom. Well, we should be able to sell those. But most of this other stuff, we just have plastic flower arranging pieces. And really, it's a little basket. Any wonder it was so light. I'm amazed it didn't crush even more, to be honest. Well, I suppose they're vintage. We might be able to put them all in a box and have a special on them. We have a plastic bag here which has just got all that foam stuff in. And we're not going to be able to use that. It's breaking down. What's it called? Has it got a name on it? I can't read it. It looks like it's got Oasis or something stamped on it. So it looks like a brick. Can you read anything on there? Probably not. Looks like a house brick, but it's just foam and it's starting to powder. So it's breaking down with age. So that's not going to be... Yeah, the whole lot's just... Oh, there's even scrunched up pieces of chicken wire to put in vases. And a whole lot of these little cage things. All right. Lucky we got some good value out of the last box because we've got not very much in here. I'll tip it out, I'll sort it out, and I'll show you what I've got. We should be able to sell those little urn things though, hopefully. That's disappointing. And here's everything unpacked and cleaned up. We've actually got another 4 of those little urns, so I think there's 12 all up. And they're cute, they're made in Japan. But I think I might, this would have been the original box for them, the way they were packed in there. So I might just put $20 on the lot and move them on rather than trying to get $3 or $4 or $5 each. I think I'm happy to sell them in one lot. All these plastic cages, all these plastic, and they're marked as posy holders. They're made in Australia. And to their credit, not one of them is cracked. You know, you'd think the plastic might have gone brittle over the years, but no, they're all pretty good. I think the lady used to either do flower arranging or perhaps supply floral decorations for weddings or something. Why else would you have this many things? But what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these back in the box, not the chicken wire, that can go in the scrap metal pile to go to the transfer station. Put them all back in the box and we'll just put, well, we'll put $20 on the urns, but we'll try $10 the lot on a whole box full of posy holders and associated bits and pieces. There was one potentially good piece. I haven't even cleaned this up. This is green depression glass. It would have been a nice find, but it's got, well, I haven't cleaned it up. It's got some sort of wax in it holding the wire in there. And it's got the biggest chip you've ever seen underneath, which is a real shame. Undamaged, it would have been probably $20. If it had have glowed under UV light, and I haven't got one here to try it, I probably would have had 30 on it. But you know, I think I might leave it in. I'll leave it in with this lot. Or put it in the dollar box or something. I just, with such a big chip, I could not be bothered cleaning it up. So we'll probably put it in the bottom of this box as a pleasant surprise for someone. The wire's going to the shred steel pile, and I will price those urns at 20 bucks. And that really sums it all up. So I better add this to the notepad, and we'll wind up this episode. The good thing about getting this big box out, it's made a lot of space in the room. Yes, look, we have another square foot or so of space there, and you can see the array of boxes behind it, but I'm going to resist starting on that wall. We need to get back into the centre. So join me next week as we start lifting things off the top. Let's go and have a look at the notepad and see what we've added to our tally for this week. So there we go, we've totaled $240 to add to the kitty for this week. That's pretty good actually. The books ended up very good. Hopefully they'll sell. If they sit in the shop too long and I have a bit of time on my hands, I might try some on eBay. We'll see how we go. Last week, well, you saw that both of the cupboards have gone, so there's $20 in. The PC games, a lot of discussion on those in the comments, and that was great. And most people seem to think they would sell, or at least some of them would sell fairly quickly. They've only been in the shop for a couple of days, no takers as yet. And we'll just take a peek back to episode 144, and we've sold 4 books out of that lot so far. And look, they're going to tick over. I don't expect them to sell quickly, but they will move, and I'll keep track of them as best I can. But we won't bother keeping check right back through the weeks on this series because it's not about a quick liquidation. It's just about keeping stock for me of what's going into the shop and what's moving. And it will all sell eventually, even if I have to discount it. Remember that we only open our shop 3 days a week, so that's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 10 till 4 is our hours. And occasionally, if we go to a table tennis tournament, we have a lady that runs the shop for us. So we're not at the shop a lot being proactive, moving stock. We've set it up so that I must do another shop walk around at some stage. I haven't done one for a long time, and a lot of you that have just joined your channel won't know what my shop's like. But we've got a lot of stuff in there. We're secondhand, antique, collectible, everything. We clean out houses, and I usually say to people we specialise in not specialising. So the shop has a really interesting feel, and a lot of stuff turns over, but there is lots of stock in there, and sometimes things just kind of get absorbed into the clutter and people don't find them. Anyway, thanks for watching. Another episode done, some more space made. We'll catch you next week for another episode where we will start on the top of that middle shelf. Looking forward to that. See you then. Bye for now.